You can do anything. And here's why. Anything that's in your mind, any ideas, thoughts, anything that you could see yourself doing is possible for you. On top of that, if you have seen other people do it, which is most things in your head, is a combination of things you've seen in the past, things you've seen in history, things you've seen other people do. And all those things are possible for you. And I know you might have some hesitation. I could hear some thoughts right now. You might be saying, I'm too young, I'm too old, I look a certain way. And I actually want to just dive into that and be honest and vulnerable. You know, a lot of times in my life, I've stopped myself from doing things because I felt unattractive or fat, to be quite honest, or these other lists of insecurities. And because of those things, I stopped myself. But the more I get older and wiser, which is a really cool thing about getting older, you get wiser, hopefully. You recognize all these things, all these reasons are totally just made up. Because for everything that you want to do, that you stop yourself from doing, but you put this limitation on yourself, someone else in history, someone in the present time as well, most likely has done that thing regardless of that circumstance. So if you are saying, I can't do this thing because I'm not good looking enough. And I'll be quite honest, I've I've had the same thought in my head. But then you see people who aren't very attractive in the you know, in the physical sense, but they're attractive in other ways. So what I've learned recently and more is that attraction is not just physical, but it's energy. It's how you feel around them. And you know, I've lived a big part of my life where people just actually enjoyed my company, and I kind of took that for granted. Like I used to think, no way this person wants to hang out with me. You know, I don't have as many followers, or I'm not as rich, or I'm not as good looking, or whatever. Like all these stories that I myself have used in the past. I want to encourage you watching that you don't have to believe in those things. And I've learned recently, relearned really, that the biggest gift and the biggest way we could help other people is to help the person you once was. Once again, the biggest gift, the biggest way you could serve the world, serve the people around you, is to help the person you once was. And the person I once was a person who stopped myself from doing things because I was insecure about the way I look. One of the stories I might have shared online before is I used to volunteer at church as a greeter, and there's this girl that would just linger around me while I'm, like, you know, greeting people in the front of the church. And I used to think she's just waiting, you know, she's waiting for someone or something like that. And then I found out later on that she was lingering because she was waiting for me to talk to her, which I did. Like I was friendly, but I didn't think that she wanted something more than just like a casual good morning or whatever it may be. Because in my head, I had this thought that I'm not good looking enough. There's no way, because I, s- I, I really believe she was one of the most beautiful girls at church, and so I'm not worthy. I'm not in her league or whatever. And so I didn't even think that that was a possibility. I wasn't aware. And so I'm talking to the Leo from years ago who stop himself from seeing opportunities and seeing things that are blessings, really. But because my mindset, my psychology stopped me from seeing them as opportunities. I'm currently watching Spider-Man, the new movie, and one of the lines that came out of it, I actually wrote it down. I wrote it down right here. Is one of the characters said, uh, the challenge is, oh, I'm kind of butchering what they said, but basically, we have to learn how to see danger as opportunity. I think the instinct of when things are not the way we want them to turn out is to see them as a risk, as danger, right? And our minds want to protect us. Just like I shared earlier, you know, I didn't see the opportunity of that girl who was interested in me because, that's risky, that's dangerous, right? To face rejection and, you know, what if she really doesn't like me, or what if we actually end up dating and then she hurts me, or like, you know what I mean? You create these stories of danger, but rather than seeing it as danger, every dangerous thing has some opportunities. That's why I love watching movies. Sometimes I really there's certain lines that like stick out as like, nuggets of wisdom and truth. And so if you're watching this, I just want to remind you to really see the opportunity all around you. Like, if you're watching this, you have access to a computer, a laptop, or a phone, or all three. There's so many opportunities right with the devices we have. And because of those devices, because of these opportunities, I'll hammer this point every single video that you could do anything. And don't allow failures in the past. Don't allow your age, like all these things can't stop you if you don't allow it to. One of the things I like repeating and I really believe in is, if you don't quit, you win. I don't I'm learning more and more that maybe failure doesn't happen in the sense that we sometimes define it as, where failure isn't making mistakes or messing up. Failure is just when you quit, right? And even if you quit, you could hop back on the horse, as they say, and you could keep going. This channel right here, something was telling me to start it, I don't know, a couple months ago. Maybe it's been a year already. And I kind of let it, I have other priorities. And so I kind of let it out of my eyesight. And then something was telling me, oh, you know what? Like, honor that voice that told you to do this thing. And as I grow older, I really believe in that intuition, that voice. Sometimes it's God, sometimes it's our intuition. There's something inside of us that pulls us to do things, and we have to do those things because you're called to do those things. And regardless of what other people tell you around you, or regardless of how well it's doing, right? Like, this channel is, pretty much brand new still. And something's telling me to just keep on doing it. And if this video helps one person pursue that thing they're supposed to be pursuing, tries again, then it's worth it. So if you want to do something, anything, you can do it. You can do it. Don't compare yourself to your siblings, your family, your friends, your coworkers, anyone around you, because you're a different person. You have a different life. Your life is supposed to look different than everyone else because you are different than everybody else. So if you constantly compare your story, your life to other people, of course you will always feel disappointment. You'll always feel lost to some degree because you're not supposed to be doing what they're doing. You're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I can't answer that for you. But you know what those things are. You know what you're meant to do. And I know you might be saying, oh, I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have whatever that but is, right? But whatever that excuse is, recognize that that excuse is just made up. We could break that down. I don't have time. Why don't you have time? What sacrifices do you have to make? We all have the same amount of time as everybody else in a day, right? And so, how are you spending that time? You know, I love Netflix. I love watching movies and TV shows, but I can't be doing that 12 hours a day because I'm called to do other things that are higher priority, higher importance, right? I value watching movies and TV shows, but that is not the bulk of my life. So if you don't have time, look at look at everything you do throughout the day and don't see as it's a scarcity mindset. You're thinking you don't have enough of it. So you create the reality that you don't have enough of it. But if you change your mindset, because I promise you, everything is your beliefs. If you believe I'll make the time, or I believe I'll utilize my time to the best of my abilities. When I was working a full-time job and I was building channel owners, our company now, like I was waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. before my full-time job, and then I would work after my full-time job before I go until I go to sleep. I would also work the weekends. I would also work in the weekend nights. I would say no to certain things because I saw my future already. I saw that all these little blocks of time that I saved for my business, I saved for my future, I saved for my career was all going to compound and become something great and give me the freedom. Like, I'm literally at a resort in San Bernardino called Yamava. What today's Tuesday. I get to spend it here. I get to work here. I get to spend my time the way I choose to. I have so much freedom and time now that I could choose not to work, as crazy as that sounds, right? And I'm thankful for our team. I'm thankful for our clients. I'm thankful for all the YouTube channels we have in our portfolio. I I work because I choose to. I work because I love to. I love doing these things. But I got to this place because I had to make sacrifices. You have to make sacrifices for what you want to do with your life. If you want something that you don't have, you have to do what you haven't done. If you want something that you don't have, you have to do what you haven't done. If you keep on doing the same things you've been doing, the life you have right now will be the life you'll have for the rest of your life. The only way to change it is to change something. You have to change something. And these changes all add up. Going back to time, maybe you could fit in 15 minutes in the morning, maybe 15 minutes in the afternoon, maybe 15 minutes before you sleep. That's almost an hour. If you spend an hour a day on your dream, on your goal, on whatever that thing is that you know you're supposed to be doing with your time, those hours stack up. That's 7 hours a week, right? An hour a day, 7 hours a week. That's 28 hours a month times 12 months. That's over 200 something hours a year. With those 200 hours, you could do something amazing. You could build a business. You could change your career. You could do both. You can do anything. You can do anything. And every video of this channel, of this podcast, is just me reminding you that you do anything. You can do anything. I have to remind myself that I can do anything, right? The same things I tell you, I practice. The same things I tell you, I have to instill in my own mind. I just want to remind you that you are capable of so much more. And I'm feeling emotions because that's how much I believe it. You can do anything. I can do anything. We can do anything. And I'll be posting these videos from now on unedited. I just realized the camera kind of switched a bit. Let me fix it right there. All right. it's it's kind of, there it is. Is that? Yeah. Yeah, I'll be posting these videos moving forward unedited to just have a natural conversation with you, sharing these thoughts and reminding you that you can do anything. You can do anything. I want you to repeat that to yourself every single day. I can do anything. I can do anything. I could do this. The way you speak to yourself is the most important thing, because if you master your thoughts, if you master your mindset, if you master your psychology, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, right? People could say whatever they want. Your coworkers, your boss, your clients, your employees, your family, your friends, they could say anything to you. And yes, of course, be open minded to the wisdom that is shared to you. But be careful, because a lot of people will tell you what's possible for your life based on what they believe is possible for their life. One more time. People usually tell you what's possible for your life based on what they believe is possible for their life. Because if they see you do the thing that they believe is not possible, if you shatter that reality, it puts a mirror on them. And then they're like, oh, crap. I can't say it's not possible. Because this person just did it. Because Leo just did it. Because Annie just did it. The stranger across the street just did it. I can't say it's not possible. When you have evidence, and when you see, that's why it's really important to learn and see examples of other people succeeding at whatever you're trying to do. Because when you do that, you can't deny the possibility that could happen for you. I think that's another reason why you need to surround yourself with people who have done what you're trying to do or are currently doing it. Once again, that's why it's important to surround yourself with people who have done what you want to do or are currently doing it, or both. And the reason being is when you surround yourself with those type of people, you don't deny the fact of what's possible, right? When I wanted to do YouTube full time, I surrounded myself with people who did YouTube full time. No matter what my friends or my family or my coworkers at the time were saying about how YouTube is hard and da 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 da. They believe that because, once again, that's the reality that people speak what's possible based on what they believe is possible. But all my other friends who were in the YouTube space, there's no denying it's possible because we're doing it. And we've done it, and we're still doing it for years, right? No one could tell me, oh, you can't make a living on YouTube. You can't make a living being a business owner. No one could say that to me. And even if they said that, I kind of just smile and to some degree laugh it off because they're speaking from their frame. They're speaking from possibility in their own life. But the people who have achieved success on YouTube, achieved success in owning a business, they believe differently. Of course. So you could do anything. If you want to do YouTube full time, if you want to build a business full time, if you want to be an influencer, if you want whatever, if you want a standard job and you want, I used to be a teacher. I used to be a seventh grade special ed teacher. If you want to be a teacher full time, you could do that. You could do anything, right? When I say you do anything, I'm not just limiting to like big, like these audacious goals. Anything could be you just want to like buy a farm or land and you want to have that type of life. And of course, as we progress through life, we recognize more and more of what we want and what we don't want. And maybe you want certain things for a certain chapter of your life and then different. Like I used to be a full-time employee and now I really love being a business owner and having freedom in that. But maybe in the future, maybe I want to work at a university and be a professor, right? I can do anything. I have freedom, I have autonomy. I can do anything, you know? If you truly have one life to live, please don't limit yourself to doing one thing for your whole life when you want to experience other things. If you want to do one thing for your whole life, then once again, you could do that. You could do anything. you like if you there's people who master cooking and they want to cook for their whole life. That's beautiful. If that's what you want to do, that's what you're called to do, and that's what you enjoy and love, do that. But if you're like me and you want to experience different things, you want to do different things, you could design the life you want to design, then you have the freedom to do that as well, right? I'm thankful we have a portfolio of YouTube channels that we own and we partner with and we partner up with and we help other YouTube channels as well. Like, I love the diversity in that. I love how it's just, I'm thankful that, it keeps me on my toes and it allows me the opportunity to learn different things and meet new people. But that's me. I'm being true to myself and that's what I enjoy, right? So you have to do what's true to you. And only you know that. And I challenge you to block out time every day just to think, and think about what you want for your life. Think about your goals and think about your future and think about all you've accomplished. You know, I think it's important to think, to think, and don't get lost in constantly just doing, because maybe what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. And so recognize that sometimes you got to pivot, sometimes you got to change direction. And everything is happening for you. I truly believe that. Everything is happening for you. And things that are unexpected in your life might look in the short term as undesirable, as painful, but in the long term, you'll see. Like, look back at your life, look at something that was painful in your life, something that was challenging, and look at how that led to something great. You know, when I got fired, it led me to go full time on channel owners in my business and YouTube. When I had a family member get really sick, have a health condition, it made me move back to California and I got more opportunities with YouTube, my career, and my business. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is happening for you, but it's your job, it's your responsibility to see, going back to the earlier message, to see danger as opportunity. See the opportunities in something that might not look like an opportunity. You'll be surprised how some of the things you don't want in your life right now are actually here to serve you for some reason. And it might be challenging to see that, right? It might be uncomfortable. But just because something is uncomfortable doesn't mean it's not for you. It's not good for you. Some of the things that cause you to be comfortable could be the things that actually hurt you in the long run. So you have to be discerning and be wiser and recognize those things. And as you get older, it's one of the beautiful things about getting older is you get to see the patterns more, right?